Welcome to the NDE World Podcast, where we explore the magical, mystical, and spiritual world of near-death experiences. And now, Ashton Lewis and Daphne Lynn.
Welcome to the NDE World Podcast. I am your host, Ashton Lewis, and in the studio with me, I have my lovely hostess, Miss Daphne Lynn. Hello, Miss Daphne Lynn.
Hello, Ashton Lewis. How are you today?
I am fine. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, that is wonderful to hear. I'm so glad you're doing well. It's always wonderful waking up to a beautiful world out here and just experiencing life.
It is.
And having positive, beautiful people to be around to experience it with, like yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I love about this, because we get to share information, you know.
Yes.
We were looking at the actual statistics earlier, and the podcast listeners is really, really growing around the world. And I just want to personally thank all of you guys for really just tuning in and listening to us. Thank you so much.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you all for your listening in, because we love sharing this knowledge.
Absolutely.
With you guys.
Yeah, so if you're new, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. And don't forget to go to the NDE.world website to find out more information on who we are and what we do and all the podcasts and all that really cool stuff. This element of the near-death experience happens to be one of my most favorite elements of the actual overall experience.
And what is that? The life review.
The life review. Yes. So let's talk about what this actual life review is. In a compressed zip file version, it's pretty much heaven and hell and karma all rolled up into one.
Judgment of yourself.
Judgment as well, yeah, but it's judgment of yourself, for lack of words.
Yeah.
I might could throw that in as well.
It like where the people who have had these experiences have crossed over, and their whole life is replayed for them in some fashion, that they get to see the events and happenings with every human being, every experience they've had in their life.
Yeah, and their interactions with these people. So that goes for all of us. If this thing is real, in which, we do have people come back and reporting it, and I really feel very strong about it because it makes perfect sense in the overall justice of all things.
Yeah, it does.
And it's in more harmony with a spiritual, loving, network of creation. It doesn't have religious overtones to it by no means. And what that is like when the person crosses over, all right, or transitions from this incarnation over to the next, we carry all of these experiences, and we have to go through what's called a life review. And it's, like Daphne said, it's a review of your life, where every interaction you've done with other people, if it's just a neutral interaction, that's fine. But the question is how much of a loving person were you? How much love did you put out in the big picture in your life review? All right. Mm-hmm. In relation to how much meanness did you put out? Right. How much harm did you put out? How much hurt? How much pain? How much did you destroy other people? Did you destroy your relationships? How much did you destroy your world? Pretty much, Right. So it's going to be one of the two. But the point of the life review is, it's not to judge you. You're not being judged. You pretty much judge yourself, if there is such thing as judgment. I don't like using that word. But it's for growing. Right. It's for learning. It's to see where you made your mistakes and what you should have done and could have done better. And,
how you can grow and learn the next time.
Absolutely. And come back and, where your weaknesses are. So it gets deep, but the more we get into these comments and things like that, it'll really start breaking it down clear.
It's ultimately about soul growth.
That's exactly what it is. That's the purpose of the life review. And one thing I'm going to put a plug in right now, I don't want to disappoint anybody, but there's nothing about hell, tormenting in hell, fire, physical thing like that in these life reviews, okay? Now, there are people who have those experiences, but it's got nothing to do with the actual life review,
Right, and then there's not the actual all heaven bliss living either. So that concept that we have of what heaven and hell are, doesn't carry over into that spiritual realm, like we've been taught.
It may. It really depends on a person's mind and their influence, because I've heard of people that they can carry over those hellish experiences. If they believe they're going to a hell, then chances are they can create that, But I don't know. But I'm talking about more specifically the life review itself,
Yeah.
The life review can be your heaven and hell, okay? And what I mean by that, if you put out love, kindness, joy, peace, all these wonderful, godly, loving, spiritual qualities to yourself, your family, your friends, society, the world in general, and that's the kind of person you are, the energy you put out, all right? That's that love that you're supposed to, like every single one of us. Now, that's what you're going to get. That's going to be your heaven. In your life review, when you're watching this, you have no clue how that's going to make you feel. Because what I understand, you feel everything back like 1,000, 10,000 fold, because you are tuned in and you're plugged into those people's feelings as well,
Right, and understand all avenues, all circumstances surrounding an event.
Yeah, and from every perspective.
Exactly.
And that's the key, you get to feel what they felt. So if you put all the good and love out, guess what? That's going to be heaven, okay? However, if you didn't, if you was, just cruel to people, if you was just mean to people, hurtful to people, harmful to people, God forbid, ever harmed or killed somebody, whether your government, your nation, or whoever told you, or your mind told you, or whatever you got tricked into doing, that's not going to be good. I'm telling you right now. Anytime you've ever harmed someone, you might have harmed someone with your words. Have you ever sent intentional hate to people? Have you tried to harm people with your words, with your actions, with your deeds, with your thoughts? Well, guess what? If you have, you're going to have to re-experience it from their perspective. And this is going to be hell.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to feel that 1,000 fold, 10,000 fold.
I think we've all at some point cursed
done
people.
Stupid stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
Lack of words.
Well, let's get into some of these the question and some of these comments pertaining to the life review, because this is going to be a marathon on the life review.
We are going to do a marathon. This is called a life review marathon. We were talking about that earlier, because there's going to be quite a few episodes out of this. So let's get started. Daphne, you want to go ahead and just read that first question and let's just jump into it?
Yeah, the question was, when you had your life review and felt the pain you had inflicted on others, did you feel everything, including the way you treated a store clerk or even someone who asked you for money on the streets? I'm just wondering how in-depth that review was. Did it include treating people that we didn't even really know, like a clerk or someone we passed on the streets that we gave a mean look to?
Okay, well, so what they're asking here is that, those people who have actually had these experiences, that during their life review, and the pain, like we had mentioned earlier, did they, the pain, how much pain do they feel that they've inflicted on others? But the question is kind of more like targeting in. It said, including, everything, including the way you treated, it says, for example, a store clerk.
Right.
Or if somebody's asking you money on the streets. Well, let me put a disclaimer in there. First of all, it doesn't matter, a person's position in life or the role they play in life or what kind of job they've got or whatever. That's irrelevant, okay? Or anybody or anything. That's got nothing to do with it. The point is how you interact with everything and everyone on earth.
Yes.
That's every soul, regardless of whatever kind of occupation they're tied up in this realm. That's got nothing to do with it. So I just kind of want to throw that out there, because it's like they're asking something like, okay, I get it that you can feel that pain you've inflicted on others, but what about a store clerk or the person asking for money on the street? So I think we need to understand that this affects all of us, and it is linked to every one of us who we interact with.
Yes.
All right, first comment. I had an experience with a young woman at a KFC. That's a Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurant, in case people were wondering what the KFC was. And it goes on to say, I was having a horrible day, and my attitude and behavior reflected it. She was the one taking my order, and her kindness affected me so much, I have never forgotten it. That was almost 30 years ago. Our interaction only lasted maybe 5 or 10 minutes, but kindness can have a huge impact on people, especially when it is undeserved. I can honestly say she changed my life for the better. I'm happy to know that in her life review, she will get to know that.
Wow, that's amazing that, this person was having a really crappy day and the behavior reflected it. But this woman showed such kindness that he had never forgotten that, or he or she brought it out, that kindness can have a huge impact on people, especially when it's undeserved. And this type of behavior and bad attitude, you would think you get what you give.
That's
but
right. You don't
this
deserve
person
kindness.
didn't do that. Right. So this person reflected a loving attitude toward the person that was being ugly.
Right. Which is an example for all of us.
Yes, most definitely.
So this person here is it's not really actually an NDE, though. I wouldn't say on this particular one. This is just like somebody that had an experience with someone that,
Right.
So do you want to go and take this next one?
Sure. This is what I have told people ever since I had my NDE. You never know how much effect you're going to have on a person's life, even if that person is just someone in front of you in line at the grocery store or the clerk at a fast food joint. It may be something as simple as a smile or it's okay, you can go ahead, but that one tiny gesture could make a world of difference in someone's life, and for all you know, it may have been that moment that you were put here for.
Okay, very good, very good. So, now, wow, I like how it's brought in here. It says you never know how much effect that you're going to have on a person's life. You can just give them that right kind of, even a smile, and
Yes.
can really brighten up their day. But just the kindness that you can show to another person can have such a rippling effect in that person's life.
Exactly.
Change that person's life for an incredible goodness. That's the point.
Yes, we actually, I think, have commented on this before when we was doing some of the reviews, that, you just don't know how much you're going to impact someone just from a smile. This
Right.
person may be, like I've said before, may be on the verge of suicide or having horrible thoughts. You just don't know what kind of effect you're going to have on somebody. So please always be kind.
Yeah, and like this person here said, that it could be the purpose why you're here, or why you was in that person's life at that moment.
At that
of time.
particular moment, you
just
were
don't know.
guided to that moment. Yeah.
But what if that person was already in a depressed state, and then you treat them like crap, even worse when they see you? And that was remember the old expression, the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and guess what? You don't even know it, but you're just responsible for that. Not in a sense. I mean, that person is responsible, but you could have had a negative influence, and it could have affected that, and you're not even knowing it because you had a bad attitude, or you've got a crappy attitude, and you want to talk mean to people. You want to harm people with your words. You want to cuss people. No, you don't do that. You don't know what another person is going through.
Exactly.
So moving right on along, this next comment says that I have heard that this all happens without ego, so that it functions without resistance. What do you think?
Wow. Okay. So,
And what do you think is actually part of their question as well? It's not that I'm just asking you, but yeah, we can ask you, what do you think? So they're saying here, this all happens without ego, of course, because you can't resist, because ego's going to make excuses.
right.
Ego's going to do everything it can to survive and say, no, this is what it is. This is not what it is. It's going to do everything it can. So I like that your ego is stripped away, and you're just, you're pure divinity. You can't lie. You can't cover it up. You can't, it's
The truth is there. Yeah.
truth is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like
The truth
that.
of all situations, like you said, without the ego, and that is going to have its effects on you as a soul.
Absolutely. Very good. So moving on along, Daphne, would you take the next one, please?
In my life review, I was shown myself complimenting the Walgreens clerk on her dress. I felt what both she and I felt at that moment. I was shown myself petting my first dog, and I felt what Timmy and I both felt. I watched a deer from a window. I felt what that deer felt, and myself too. It was awesome. Holy crap, that's that
Now we're starting to get into some good stuff. This is where it's going to start really making sense to people.
is the oneness, the collective.
That's what it is. Correct.
Yes, and I love that. Because the other day going down the road at work, and there was this beautiful green field on both sides of the road, and there were cows, beautiful cows, black cows, white cows, brown cows, all the different colors. And it hit me. I was like, oh my God, how beautiful. And there was this one cow standing up close to the edge of the road, like looking across over, I guess, at
Watching
another
the
cow.
traffic.
But as I passed it, I turned and I noticed it. And I was like, Oh, it's so beautiful. And that moment probably was recorded. And that's what this person felt that's having this experience with the deer just from looking out the windows. So,
Right.
yes, it's that oneness, that collective that we are a part of. Whether we admit it or not, we are all connected. And you see it in these comments right here.
You're being kind to people, and there's an actual vibration, a physiological vibration, that when you send that love and that kindness, that forgiveness, that God, that love, you send that energy to people, they're going to react. In the same way with a negative or a destructive, you're going to get what you give.
Yeah.
So, if you don't mind, I'm going to comment on this right here to go in with your comment on the deer. And you said you saw the cows and all these animals, and these kind of came up here in the life review. Do you recall a while back some of the actual life reviews where even trees, people were interacting with trees, and trees interacted with them?
Yes.
They felt the love of a tree. They said one time they remember hugging a tree, and that tree just lit up and just loved it so much, and they even felt that love and saw the love they gave to that tree. So it's that oneness, it's that connection with all of life. So it's not just that store clerk or that, that banker, or that, whatever.
It's
that
not
person.
just human interaction.
No, it's all of life.
Right.
Moving on along, you had touched base on this earlier. Would you like to read that one right there? You kind of like touched base a little bit on judging yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So it seems in many NDEs, when and if you have a life review, you judge yourself, but generally you have guides with you to help you through the review.
Okay, let's
This
kind
is
of
taking
focus
me
on
back
that.
to some of the review episodes that we done where the one person was having such an experience, and it was just overwhelming that the beings, the guides, angels, whatever was there with him was lifting him up under the arms to hold him up because it was so painful to that person the way
I've
that
heard
they
lots of
experienced
stories
life.
like that. However, here's to kind of to go with that, is when you really start to, you're really tuned into that other person. You are that oneness again. You're not the separation that you think you are, like here. You are one with the all. And you're going to feel what that person felt. And when you really think about it, like you said, that could be so overwhelming. That could be that person's hell. It really can. And I've heard of stories where people wanting to pass out and all, but these guys they're holding them up. But I've also heard that the whole time you're watching this and you're feeling this, you feel the hurt, you feel the pain, you feel the remorse. At least you should. That the more pain you feel, the more love you get drugged with.
The effect of
metaphorically
getting,
speaking.
getting
That's
drunk
what I heard.
on love.
They said drunk. They said use the expression. The more painful it is, the more it's like being
more
hooked,
love they pour
being
on
hooked
you.
up on morphine. I think they used the illustration. But they said you're watching this and it's painful, but because you're watching it and it is painful, the amount of pain you're going to get the love poured in just to kind of keep you to maintain it, but you're still going to feel that pain.
Yes.
And they say in most cases, or a lot of cases, some cases, however you want to look at it, that depending on the trauma of the person's life, there are areas where the soul will have to go maybe recoup, gather their thoughts together, and I should have done so much better, could have done better, didn't do this, could have done that, then you get that other shot and you get to go through it again and you get to build and grow as a soul.
Yes. And that's wonderful because we can continue to grow.
Absolutely. And what is this main point here? Like this one says, it says that in the life review that you judge yourself.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind, and it's not really the judgment like we're saying, but that's just for human words to explain or describe.
Right.
The
It's
experience.
not like when we transition over that we are going into a court scene where someone is sitting on a throne or a judgment seat condemning or blessing your life.
It's not like that.
Right. No, the point
judge
is there's
system.
no external judgment other than yourself.
Correct. Absolutely. And which is going to conflict with a lot of religions out there because, a lot of them teach that, God's, something that he's really not or it's really not, so. And that afterlife, they've got it really kind of, I don't know. It is what it is. We'll know when we get there. So
That's right.
moving right on along. This next person says that no, because my life review was like a 10-minute YouTube video on 5 times speed. and it went by very quickly. I felt guilt and pain towards those that I had a strong emotional connection to. It's something I still quite can't put into words yet, because there's nothing on this earth that can describe the feeling of this emotional bond and closeness that I felt during my life review. I remember hurting those close to me. Having a near-death experience usually turns you into a kinder person. So, if I did do something bad to a stranger or a random person, they probably wouldn't be affected by it. So I felt no guilt or pain towards them during my life review. Okay, so comments, Miss Daphne.
Yeah, I mean, and that first thing off of that is the timeline. Like, time is just like sped up. It's time is different on the other side.
Yes, and let's keep that in mind. I'm glad you said that, because from what I understand, these life reviews go by pretty quick.
Right.
You know, on average, you know, I've heard of, they had that, you know, maybe thought it went longer or whatever, depending on the actual experience. But for the most part, they say it goes by so fast, and you are experiencing everything all at once because time overlaps there.
Yes.
It's not a linear, like, past, present, future. The reality is everything's happening all at once, if that makes any sense.
Right. It says, this person actually says that I felt guilt and pain towards those that I had a strong emotional connection to.
Which is usually the ones we hurt the most, isn't it? The ones we're closest to?
Old saying, you hurt the ones you love the most.
Seems like it, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that it's, like it says, like they was watching a video at 5 times the speed. So it's not, say for example, you live 70, 80 years old and you go for your life review, you don't have to sit there and review, 70, 80 linear years of our time. You know, no, that 70, 80 years is going to go by like everything in fast forward, you know, just super fast. Like this guy said 5 times the speed. So we hear that a lot, that it goes by really, really quick. Mm-hmm. We hear stories where people can actually tune into certain experiences. But regardless, you will feel what you put out. And that's that reaping what you sow. That's what these masters were referring to.
Yeah, and I like the way this person brought it out, that, you know, having an NDE normally turns you into a kinder person. And that's what we stress through all walks of every moment in every life.
Be good now.
Be kind, be loving,
Yes.
be the light. I mean, because that's going to be reflected in your life review.
It is. Very good point. Very good point. So, moving right on along. Now, this person here, it says that for me, it was absolutely everyone and everything. Every word, action, thought, and intention affected everything around me. But there were some that were highlighted more than others. The highlighted ones were most often not people in my immediate family or friends. It was about how a casual encounter had left someone feeling. How a harsh judgment had affected someone, even if they did not consciously know what my thoughts were.
Oh, wow.
It was to teach me, I suppose, the value of kindness in thought, deed, and action. To learn that, although we are in silos in this dense and heavy experience of a life here, our energies and intentions go far wider and actually have an impact. It was the learning that most affected me. It influenced the direction my life would take. Meeting Jesus and God affirmed my worth. But that first experience, more than the others, guided my life's interactions, especially around the subject of judgment. Always offer love, kindness, humor, and hope instead of judgment. Okay.
Wow, very well
Good
said.
points, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I like the way this person brought it out, that it was absolutely everyone and everything, every word, action, thought, and intention that affected everything around that person. And that's what we see. That's that oneness, that collective we're all part of. That
That's
we
right.
experience, like this person did, that we will experience the thoughts that we had toward somebody.
Yep.
So you even have to be very mindful of your thoughts.
Right.
I mean, you may be sitting here talking with somebody and your mind go off thinking whatever about
Even the
that
person you're
person.
interacting- Yes, right.
Yeah, so
Be putting on a face, what they call that, like
The
just like
facade.
the facade. Yeah, you can just be putting on that facade, and and the whole time you're just like, oh,
the deer in the headlights. Oh, come
I
on
don't
with this
wanna- I don't wanna listen
conversation.
to this person,
Right.
And you're smiling the whole time. Yes, okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's not genuine.
Right.
It's not
exactly. But the soul picks up on that.
It does.
And because we are that one.
That's right. You can't get away from it.
Right.
You can't.
A lot of beauty in that.
There is. Absolutely. And I love that. Personally, I love that. Well, let's go ahead and do one more. Like I said, so we're going to be doing the marathon. So let's go ahead and wrap this last question up here of the day. And we'll just pick up with the next one on the next episode. But it says here, final comment. It says that rest assured that your life review will be a forgiving one. Absolutely. Especially if you can forgive yourself before you die. That's a good point. Nobody goes to hell, even Hitler. After death of the body, your consciousness persists forever, and you will be mentally healed, and you will be just fine. No need to worry. Daphne, final comments on this last comment.
Yes, I mean, it's one thing that we've talked about a lot of times is not only to forgive others so that you can heal, but forgive yourself because you've done things probably to yourself more than a lot of people have that you really need to forgive yourself. I mean, I have went through this. I do like forgiveness ceremonies every now and then just to clear my energy within myself, and it is so enlightening. It's so uplifting. It really changes your energy level. So definitely forgive yourself, forgive others. That way you can heal. And I love the way this person brought it out too, that nobody goes to hell, not even Hitler. And we have episodes on this, so go check out those episodes on the website.
Specific subject.
Yes, exactly.
Hitler in hell.
Yeah, we have to realize that after the death of this physical body, that the consciousness that continues on, that is your soul. That is the real you.
Yeah.
It continues forever, and we will, whatever we've done in this life, will be healed, and we'll be just fine. We'll continue to grow. So there's really no need to worry about what happens on the other side. Release the fear of the afterlife, what you might have, so that you can grow.
Very good, very good. Well, with that thought in mind, looking at the clock here, let's go ahead and wrap things up on this episode, and then we'll pick up with a part 2, and I'm sure there'll be a part 3, maybe a part 4, who knows? But this is going to be a life review marathon.
Yes, and I'm so excited about it.
Yes, life review. We love you all so much. Thank you so much, and may peace be with you all. Until next time.
Y'all let your light shine.
For information about the NDE World Podcast, visit NDE.world. That's NDE.world.